Like every other weekend in the body, soul, and wisdom therapy course, the teacher still comes to class early as usual. In the inside classroom, many students arrived earlier than the teacher, sitting and chatting together. When the teacher entered his office, an older woman sat inside. One student knew the teacher had arrived. She made a pot of tea for him. The woman in the office just greeted the teacher and said nothing. Maybe she waited for the teacher to finish enjoying his tea before talking. Understanding that, when he finished drinking tea, he asked her,
"Is there anything wrong?"
She immediately replied,
"Teacher, you also know my daughter. We have been studying therapy from you for a while. Before studying therapy using the teacher's method, my daughter was diagnosed with schizophrenia by the hospital. My daughter has had to take psychiatric medication every day for many years. Before getting sick, she was a perfect child, polite and well-studied. But since she started working for a while, she got sick. Symptoms include laughing and talking to herself, occasionally screaming, holding her head with her hands, and complaining of a headache. My child often loses control of her behavior, bites me, and even screams and curses at my husband and me. The strange thing is that many times when she's awake, she tells me she doesn't want to be like that or hurt her parents, but she can't control what's inside her. After many years of treatment at the hospital, but her illness could not be cured, I took her to many places, such as temples, to ask people who could help her. They checked and said demons possessed her. Then they performed rituals to worship and expel the demons from my daughter's body. However, I had to pay them a lot, but my daughter was not cured. I learned that your knowledge could help people with mental illness recover and return to normal life. At first, I didn't believe it. However, after observing sick people who have recovered from learning the teacher's knowledge, I strongly believe this is the only method to save my daughter. Therefore, my child and I have been studying your knowledge for a while now. Listening to the teacher's advice when starting listening to, I no longer let my child take psychiatric drugs. The teacher also explained that after quitting medicine, my daughter would show signs of losing control of her thoughts and behavior, so parents must help her get through this difficult period. As the teacher said, my daughter developed behaviors such as hitting and biting me. She often bad-mouthed and scolded her parents.
The teacher interrupted.
That is the correct treatment regimen. After the patient quits the psychiatric medication, receiving information through the lecture will stimulate all the negative energy particles in the soul to vibrate. When they shake, toxic information is released into manifestations so that relatives and the patient herself know that it is toxic. At that time, the true information of the lecture being heard catches the conflict signal in the clusters of energy particles in the soul, and they move to the clusters of many negative particles for healing. This process requires time and determination from relatives and the patient. The method of healing mental illness, according to two truths, is to feed in truthful and comprehensive information to balance and eliminate toxic information. Therefore, quickly recovering from illness depends on the effectiveness of listening and learning knowledge. For people with mental illness, they do not actively listen and receive information. Therefore, parents and relatives are decisive in their healing process. When patients lose control, they don't want to listen, but their parents and relatives have to let them listen all the time, even when they sleep. During the period when the patient suddenly loses control of their behavior and thoughts during the treatment process, parents must always let them listen to lessons to help them recover quickly. Therefore, you and your family must help her as much as possible and with love.
The woman continued.
Teacher, there is one more question I want to ask you. At this stage, my child lost control of her thoughts and behaviors. Whenever she saw me, she would bite and hit me. However, she has less conflict when in an environment with other people, and they help her listen to the teacher's knowledge. Could you please tell me why this is so?
That question of yours is also the question of family members of other mental patients. That question is related to today's lesson, which is about information entanglement and the changing nature of information in different environments. You and everyone will hear detailed explanations in today's lesson.
After chatting and knowing what she was wondering about that the teacher would explain in today's lesson, she asked him for permission to enter the class to wait for his lecture. She is a devoted mother who has sacrificed for her children for years. Her pride and expectations of her daughter becoming a talented person evaporated during her daughter's illness. Now, that austere mother only hopes that her daughter will recover and return to how she was before she was sick. That is a great wish, not only for her, but also for her family and relatives. Mental health diseases have no cure and cannot be cured by medicine from the past to the present because people and scientists do not understand the nature and causes of that disease. The development has cured diseases of the body of medicine through decoding the human body with its parts. However, when it comes to the soul, humans cannot dissect their structure. Only the teacher is the first person in the human world to examine the structure of the soul, pointing out the nature and causes of all soul problems, especially diseases of the soul. From there, he offers solutions to help people heal illnesses related to mental health. Many people with mental illness, from mild to severe, from newly diagnosed to having had it for over 20 years, have recovered and returned to everyday life like a miracle. They followed the teacher's advice during the process of studying therapy, that is, to quit psychiatric medication after a period of listening to the lesson when a large amount of valuable information has been loaded into the soul. At that time, their souls gain helpful information to deal with conflicts transmitted from the negative energy particle system. His remarkable achievements in applying the knowledge of the two truths over the years have created a firm trust in many patient families. That's why his class has many patients participating in learning and treatment. When all the students arrived in class and it was time to lecture, the teacher left the office and went inside the classroom. The teacher said,
In the previous lessons, you have learned essential lessons for understanding the three secrets every spirit and human being is searching for. That knowledge has explained to you the nature and reasons why some humans and Tuolins achieve full enlightenment. Besides, it also points out the nature and cause of why Tuolins and people have mental illness. Please do not discriminate or shun people with mental illness, whether they are mild or severe. The nature of that disease is due to information disorder in the energy particle structure of the soul. It is not an infectious disease. It does not make you or the patient's family ashamed of the patient. All humans and Tuolins have varying degrees of severity of information disorder within their structures. If information disorder exceeds the threshold, people will lose control of their thoughts and behavior. Humans call it mental health problems. You must understand that because of the wisdom of Tuolin and human ignorance, it leads to ignorance. When the mind is ignorant, it leads to actions in ignorance. As a result, harmful energy particles are produced according to the mechanism of transformation, decay, and destruction. To heal all diseases of body, mind, and intellect, you must be fully loaded with accurate information and the value of knowledge of the two truths. Loading in enough valuable information with positive energy will help your soul balance. At that time, you need to practice producing positive energy particles according to the mechanism of sustainable transmutation. It is the perfect process to heal and help the soul mature and become enlightened. In today's lesson, I will explain the problem of information entanglement and the changing nature of information when moving through different environments of Tuolins and humans. After this lesson, you will learn an invaluable lesson to apply to your life and appropriately and effectively educate your children and grandchildren. 1. Information entanglement. Please remember the image of the vibrating wave code from point 1 to point 2 of the intellectual wave code in the smallest positive and negative energy particles. Information entanglement is the connection between negative information values in the original yin particle. It denies information between the original yin and yang embryo and knowledge in the outside environment. However, due to the process of interaction and reaction by actions, an amount of that opposing information was stored and encoded into the vibrational code of the energy particle. Information entanglement includes negative information values encoded at the cathode in the vibrational code of positive energy particles. Positive information values are encoded at the anode in the vibrating wave code of the negative energy particle, and negative information values are encoded at the negative pole of the vibrational wave code in the negative energy particle. The nature of each type of information disorder. Negative information in positive energy particles. This type of information entanglement is formed in an environment with negative information values. When people or subjects with original yin and yang energy embryos interact and react to harmful information, the negative information is still encoded into the yin pole of the vibrational code. The fact that the positive energy particle encodes malicious information is not that it is linked to external negative information. It is the yin and yang energy embryo process with the power of positive heat to comprehend the truth of all external environmental information. At that time, the harmful information is understood and successfully decoded. Therefore, the negative values of the external environment are transformed by the yin and yang embryo into the truth of the lesson and stored in the new positive particle produced after interacting in that environment. That is the information tangle of the sustainable transformation mechanism through the production of positive energy particles. This information disorder does not cause damage to the yin and yang embryo and tuolin. In particular, such negative information stimulates the practice of compassion to practice actions to help and save people and animals in difficult and dangerous situations. This information entanglement is essential to help tuolins and people practice activating kindness and eliminating toxins in the original yin and yang embryo. When tuolins have such information entanglement with all tuolins and all things in and outside the universe, the tuolin has the wisdom of all things, because it results from understanding the knowledge of all things, including positive information values, to activate kindness and negative information values to become a lesson to force out one's toxins. You remember that when positive energy particles are produced, it results from victory at point 2 in the original positive particle. Therefore, the negative information values encoded at the negative pole of the vibrating wave code in the positive particle are no longer toxic. It is simply a lesson of compassion and understanding. Positive information in negative energy particles. This type of information entanglement is formed when humans or tuolins interact and react in positive environments. The toxins of the original yin energy particles dominate their yin and yang embryos. Therefore, the initial positive energy particle does not have the power to control the negative particle and connect and receive positive information values in the external positive environment. Those people interacting in an environment with positive information think that positive knowledge is not proper to their ideology and ideals. Even if those positive values have sustainable development, they always deny it. They negate it with the power of the poison in their original negative energy particle. When interacting and reacting to an excellent information environment, they argue and even get angry at the good information others try to convey to them. Although they objected, a portion of the positive information values were encoded into the anode of the vibrating wave code in their harmful energy particles after they were produced. This type of information entanglement is detrimental to humans and tuolins. It even creates an ideology of hatred towards people trying to convey positive information. The interaction and reaction process through which hostility occurs will worsen the information entanglement in their energy particles. However, from the perspective of the tuolin's practicing journey to eliminate toxins and activate goodness, this type of information entanglement is beneficial for each tuolin. After those souls experience the suffering in human life, they will identify their toxins and gradually eliminate them. At that time, they will thank the people in the favorable environment who transmit positive information. In addition, that positive information will create strength to help them activate the goodness within them while eliminating toxins. Negative information in harmful energy particles is a hazardous type of information entanglement. It is the path of transformation, decay, and destruction for Tuolins and humans. This type of information disorder results from the yin and yang embryo being controlled by the toxin of the yin energy particles. In contrast to the above kind of information entanglement, this type accelerates the destruction and decay of Tuolins very quickly. When the toxins of harmful particles control people's ideology and intellect, they will deny the information values of sustainable development in a positive environment. Instead, they are drawn to unfavorable environments. When interacting and reacting to adverse environments, they easily harmonize and receive toxic information from the harmful external environment. When the two toxic types of external and internal information are closely linked and encoded at the negative pole of the vibration code in harmful energy particles, those people will produce a lot of yin energy particles. The toxic connection between negative people in a dangerous environment creates a connection between the harmful particles of the transformation, decay, and destruction mechanism. The consequences those people cause to people, society, and animals are enormous. If people with toxins in their yin and yang embryos do not interact and live in an environment with positive information, they will quickly destroy themselves with destructive energy. The solution to the problem of information entanglement: first, it is necessary to understand the objects related to information disorder, including all the Tuolins and humans interacting and reacting in environments with each other. The only solution is for everyone to understand and practice the sustainable transmutation mechanism to produce positive energy particles with intense positive heat. That is, to create ideologies and actions that oppose those implementing the mechanism of transformation, destruction, and decay. The achievements and power of the light of wisdom will help people who are disordered in their information on the path of producing harmful energy particles to be enlightened and awakened. When experiencing the ultimate suffering caused by toxins, those who have harmful energy particles will awaken and rely on the enlightened wisdom of those who practice the mechanism of producing positive energy particles. Thus, the essence of this solution is to activate one's goodness to touch and help others eliminate their toxins through the suffering they have to go through. A specific situation: when in a family there is a spouse, parent, or child with mental illness. That is the clearest sign of information disorder along the path of decomposition. Those family members have information entanglements, resulting in harmful energy particles being created in past or past lives. Through the structure of harmful energy particles in multiple negative particle clusters, information such as images, language, ideologies, and negative actions that hurt each other, people, and animals are in all family members. In particular, that harmful information is stored and encoded the most in people with mental illnesses, because in their past lives, that person practiced actions that hurt people, each other, and animals. Their soul produced too many harmful particles. When negative particles are too much, it will cause information disorder in their soul structure system. As a result, this life breaks out into mental illness. Because family members are related to each other in past lives, they continue to be reincarnated and live together in the same family in the present life to help each other eliminate toxins and activate each other's goodness. When patients lose control of their thoughts and behavior, they only see past images and sounds stored in harmful energy particles. Therefore, they see their wife or husband, parents or children as enemies or accomplices. At that time, they became out of control and attacked and even killed each other. But when they woke up, they regretted their inappropriate behavior towards each other. In the patient's mind, there are many different living personalities. Family members must apply solutions to remove information disorder to help patients recover entirely during learning and treatment according to the knowledge of two truths. Those are relatives who must accompany the patient to study. The patient's relatives must understand the same knowledge as the patient. Next, their relatives must activate kindness by caring for the patient, even if the patient scolds or fights back. When their loved one practice kind actions towards the sick person and others, the toxins in the sick person's soul will be forced out faster because kind actions are the opposite of removing information entanglement and touching the soul of the ill person after the suffering they have experienced. If the patient's relatives do not follow the above solution with sincere love, the patient will not recover. There are families where, when their children are sick, only one of the parents loves and helps them recover from the illness using the method of two truths. The other person didn't believe it and even wanted to bring their child to a mental hospital for treatment. In addition, that person also has words and actions that hurt the sick child. The poison grows more intense when the child's soul receives toxic information from their father or mother. As a result, they cannot recover from their illness. Because relatives do not practice the kindness activation mechanism to help the sick, it is complicated for the ill person to recover. Another specific situation of healing mental illness with the knowledge of the two truths is an elderly mother in her 80s who has been taking care of her child in his 50s, who has had schizophrenia for more than 20 years. He was a talented working man who suddenly became mentally ill. During more than 20 years of illness, the patient could not speak, do personal activities, go to work, and take psychiatric medication every day. When the mother brought her child to the teacher's class to learn the knowledge of the two truths for a few months, the teacher gave the mother a book and advised her to read it to her child before and after sleep. The mother followed what the teacher instructed. She read the teacher's book of two truths to her child before and after sleep. As a result, after a few months of treatment, he recovered, talked again, could function independently, and returned to work. During treatment, he often lost control of his behavior because he didn't take psychiatric medication, according to the teacher's advice. His recovery from mental illness shows the mother's immense love for helping her child heal from that illness. It demonstrates the act of activating kindness to help sick people eliminate toxins and recover from illness through learning the two truths to cure mental illness. 2. The nature of information is changed when moving through different environments. The environment in human life includes a favorable circumstance created by positive information values, a harmful environment created by negative information values, and negative and positive information. When Tuolins incarnate as humans and practice in the human world, they must simultaneously live and interact with all environments, negative, positive, and both, because every human being has an embryo of the original yin and yang energy of the inner Tuolin. Therefore, when interacting with different information environments, the poison in the root yin particle and the kindness in the root yang energy particle will have enough conditions to reveal their entire nature. At that time, people and their souls will identify and force out those toxins and activate the goodness within them. That is, practicing the mechanism of sustainable transformation. Different types of environments bring different values to humans and souls. However, people do not understand that it is to improve themselves. Instead, they blame their lives and even wallow in suffering because of the injuries caused to everyone. Because of this, you need to understand the value of interactive scenarios and environments in the human world. You must understand how the information in yin and yang embryos will change when they move into different environments. From there, you will have a plan to create the best environment for yourself to eliminate all toxins and maximize kindness. The environment changes the nature of information in the yin and yang embryo. Negative environment. Plus 4 yin and yang embryos controlled by the original yin energy particle. When these people move and live in an environment with negative information values, their original yin energy particle will readily accept and connect negative external information. As a result, the yin-yang embryo absorbs additional external toxins into itself. That makes the process of decomposition of the Tuolin of that person happen faster. plus 4 yin and yang embryos controlled by the original yang energy particle. When these people move and live in environments with negative information values, the original yang energy particle can operate the original yin particle and harmful information outside. Therefore, they can easily recognize negative values to summarize them as lessons. They have the power to overcome toxic environments and practice the mechanism of generating positive energy particles. Positive environment. On plus 4 yin and yang embryos controlled by the original yin energy particle. These people move and live in a positive environment. Their original yin energy particle still wins and operates the yin and yang embryo to produce harmful energy particles. However, encoding positive information in a positive environment will help them gradually identify toxins and force out their toxins. If they experience enough suffering and live in a positive environment for a long time, their original negative energy particle will gradually change as the toxins are forced out. Plus 4 yin and yang embryos controlled by the original yang energy particle. These people move and live in a positive environment, and their yang energy particle becomes strong enough to squeeze out all remaining toxins in the original negative particle. They receive and closely associate with positive external information to promote the production of positive energy particles to become more effective. Such people will quickly transform yin and yang embryos into energy filters. The nature of information in the yin and yang embryo will change when moving and living in different environments to help you answer questions about mentally ill people. You understand why when they live with kind-hearted people who have immense love, their illnesses will quickly be cured. On the contrary, when they live with people with negative multi-energy particle structures in their souls, negative people, and people without sincere love, they are easily agitated and ready to hurt negative people. That's extreme. All because information between environments changes the nature of information in the yin and yang embryos of humans and tuolins. Thus, from the problem of information entanglement and the changing nature of information in different environments, you have learned more about the wonders of the human practice environment in the human world. You need to take advantage of those exciting things to create the best environment for yourself, your loved ones, and everyone around you to squeeze out toxins together and maximize kindness.
A student immediately told the teacher,
"Teacher, you have given us the special enlightened knowledge of the two truths with the smallest energy particle. You also showed us clearly the mechanisms of transformation and how to create the best environment to practice eliminating toxins and activating kindness for ourselves and others. I believe that all those who learn and practice this enlightened knowledge will achieve great achievements in their practicing journey in the human world."
The teacher replied,
To achieve great achievements on the practicing journey, each tuolin and each person must persevere and have the strength to overcome difficulties and obstacles. No achievement is easy. The greater every achievement, the greater the sacrifice. It is the dedication of intelligence and time to practice generating positive energy particles through helping and saving people and all species. Please try and persevere, and success will always be with you.